I'm here to help women reset and rewild, to embrace and prioritize the pauses in order to reclaim their peace and power. I'm Dr. Michelle Peris, director of the Poppy Clinic and founder and CEO of the Wild Collective. As a disruptor, naturopathic doctor, wife, and mama, I've created a global movement and sacred space for women to rise together. Here, you'll break through limitations, romanticize your life, and unlock the magic of your divine feminine power. My life's work is rooted in community, lifting women into their most powerful, authentic selves, while empowering clinicians to elevate their practices with a transformational, community-driven model. I lead a thriving, passion-fueled business and naturopathic practice brimming with abundance, where I can guide women to invigorate their lives through sisterhood and elevate healthcare with a cutting-edge transformational approach. I've witnessed firsthand in my practice how this model sparks consistent health transformation, creates flourishing communities, and brings profitable success. You can have it all, a life filled with abundance, contagious joy, and untethered potential. So pull up a seat. It's time to pour into yourself and tap into your intuition and design a life that's wild, free, and uniquely yours. And I'm going to show you how. This is Wild Medicine. All right, welcome back.
Hi.
I haven't done this in a while. Okay, you guys, it's the fall, and Dr. Tara Rawana and myself, who is no stranger to the podcast, she's the familiar face in all things community, teen health, metabolic health here at the Poppy Clinic. We're having a conversation today all around resets, fat loss, metabolic health, and really this huge concept of willpower and this fallacy. Just to preface this conversation with, if this is something that you want to learn more about, if our program or metabolic health or markers of metabolic health are something you want to dive a little bit more deeply on, we are hosting a free info session here at the Poppy Clinic on Wednesday, September 7th, 7 p.m. It's a totally community experience. It's integrative. You'll be able to ask us questions. We have someone coming to share their own experience in Shed. So it's going to be a really amazing and enlightening evening. And everyone who comes is going to have access to our body composition tool, the InBody. So it's going to be this really impactful and educational evening. So I just wanted to put that out there first in case, life is busy and you pause us, but you were wanting to hear more about it. The link to register for free is in the show notes, so feel free to check that out. All right, Tara, I know everyone knows who you are, but give us a brief reintroduction and then go ahead and lead this conversation, because this idea and this concept and us having this conversation was really motivated and inspired by you. So you go ahead.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me back. I love being here. So my name is Dr. Tara Rawana. I'm a naturopathic doctor over at the Poppy Clinic. And along with Dr. Michelle, I run our Shed program, which we both just absolutely adore. That's half my practice. The other half of my practice is working with tweens and teens on the health concerns that they have at their age. And I also run our program Empowered Tween, which is our mom and tween daughter puberty education program at the Poppy Clinic. So, as Michelle said, we are here today to talk all things Shed. And where we wanted to start was talking a little bit about willpower and systems. And so often when it comes to weight loss, fat loss, there's so much willpower in that journey. And a lot of people, what we find is they really depend on willpower to get them through and to get them to their goals. But what happens is willpower is really finite. And it can really only take you so far, especially in the world that we live in, where we're busy. We're all making a million decisions a day, and we use up our willpower. So by the time that it comes around to making food and nourishing our body, we really default to our systems. There's that James Clear quote that we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And it's so true when it comes to this conversation. What are the systems that we have in place that will help us to be successful? Because we can't just depend on this concept of willpower alone.
I love this and have this desire to even take this one step back for a moment to loop in the willpower concept. So, our Shed Metabolic Reset program is a targeted system, if you will. It's quite formulaic in our approach, and it's targeted as a fat loss program. So, as much as we talk about weight loss, and weight loss is, I think, probably the buzzword that people use, and I think this is why we want to provide the InBody scale as a tool for assessment, is that body weight is a really poor marker of metabolic health. And so, what we want to help our patients do is, one, define if metabolic dis-ease is something that they're struggling with. I was speaking with a couple of clinicians last week, and they were saying that they were having these conversations with their friends, and just that there's this real blind spot about what metabolic health is. What is metabolic dis-ease? Who needs to be concerned about this? Like, there's, so many symptoms can be chalked up to other hormones when really we have a metabolic health issue. And two, and the reason I'm saying all of this is just so that you understand why we need to talk about willpower. Because one, we need to define, does someone have a metabolic concern? And for a lot of women that we serve, myself in particular, who was personally impacted by this program, a lot of the metabolic markers looked within normal ranges, but still things weren't adding up. There was a lot of inflammation, a lot of things in the way, and I felt incredibly frustrated. And so if you're listening to this and you feel like your body is holding on to fat that is no longer aligning with function or helping you thrive, then this episode and this content is really for you. And then we want to position this concept of willpower on this idea of, how does one reclaim health? And then how do we maintain the results? And so I think that's what's so important about this idea, because Tara and I love this program. Like she said, we're obsessed. We're so proud of the work that we do and all the systems and access to resources we've provided to ensure our patients get results. But I think what we're most so inspired by is our capacity and our success rate in the maintenance. And so I just wanted to bring it back a bit so that you have context of the willpower we're looking to redirect. And I don't even know if I like the word willpower, really.
Same.
It feels like something you have to muster up. It sounds hard. And most of us are so busy, we need systems. Like, to your point,
Yeah.
we fall to the level of our systems. And those who tend to not do well in maintenance, in our experience, are the ones who fail to build systems in the reset, or think of our structure of the reset as only a temporary phase in their health journey. What I was talking about with someone yesterday is, we really want this to be the last place you come before reclaimed and thriving health. You've been through the yo-yo of, getting results and then gaining it back, and then life happening and lacking the systems, and then going through that experience time and time again. We want this to be the framework and the systems that have been created to honor how your body works and thrives, how to build your plate with confidence, so that this is the last place you need to go before you really can take radical responsibility long-term for thriving health.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that yo-yoing too, it's so damaging to our self-esteem. Like, we both have so many patients that come into this program and say, I feel like a failure. I've tried everything. Nothing works for me, right? And this pattern of yo-yo dieting, where you go into this program, you lose all this weight, and then you come out and you're like, what do I do now, right? Like, there's so much confusion, and that leads to all of this yo-yoing that really erodes your confidence at the end of all of this. So absolutely, this is because we have built in those systems. That's why our patients are successful, not only in the active phase, in the diet phase, because it's easy to be successful in those phases. What really matters is what comes next and what's long-term, right? Excuse me. And that's what we're so proud of, is our ability to really help our patients maintain through building these systems that work with their unique body, right? Like taking that individualized approach and helping them change their habits, change their thinking, change their systems to make this actually part of their life moving forward.
Yeah, so let's unpack this a little bit because I think that you just gave me an idea. I think when we go into any program, you're right. It's like not hard to get results, right? We're all familiarized with everything that's available to us. I want to highlight some of the systems we provide that make us uniquely different and well positioned to be of service to our patients long term. So let's go through them a little bit. Let's just riff.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think one of my favorite things about this program is I came to it as a naturopathic doctor who was taught nutrition
Mm-hmm.
and thought that I was doing everything right. And I think that's a lot of our patients. I would say upwards of 75% of our patients are doing all of the things,
Yeah, absolutely.
feel like their body is working against them. And so I think one of the systems that I appreciate about what we're doing in Shed is the simplicity of learning about food.
Mm-hmm.
It is cutting out the noise, and I think this is what something you and I believe, like, deep down, is that it is a noisy world out there, and one thing we hope to instill in all of our patients is a level of confidence
Yes.
of they know what is best for them.
Yes.
To not be, like, ping-ponged with latest trend to latest trend, because it's easy to do. I am a victim of it, if you will. At the time I entered a metabolic reset, like our exact program, I was intermittent fasting for years, so much so that I actually think I did cause some weight resistance because I was
Mm-hmm.
really good at it, and then I was just super good at ignoring my body's signals. So I was super disconnected from my body. So I think one of the things that I love, and this works so well for so many busy women,
Yes.
is that we have a structured, like, way to eat and a timing plan. Lots of this is flexible and can be customized to your lifestyle, but you know exactly what you need to do in a 24-hour period, which in direct conflict with your everyday life, if you're anything like me, 4 p.m. hits and you're like, no, dinner time. What am I going to? So this took the ease off of this. And it also, so not only is it structured plates, I say they're like quite primal. It's whole
Mm-hmm.
food, how we were designed to eat. I had a patient recently say to me, like, I can't believe how much I'm being driven by my body to crave protein. I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yes.
But when there's lots of sugar and inflammation and processed foods and high fats, that internal signal, that intuitive knowing of what your body actually needs is suppressed. And
Absolutely.
so when we get that noise out, we actually start to build a plate that nourishes us. And then when we've cut out the noise, we actually get to feel the experience of how good our body feels when we're nourishing ourselves well. So I
Mm-hmm.
think even for the everyday busy person, and we treat both women and men in our program, we speak often to a lot of women. It just tends to be who we speak to, but this program is truly for everyone. There is a confidence that's being instilled. And so what Tara and I like to say is, even though other programs might be calorically similar, or gosh, there could be totally different, you're not actually learning how to eat. And the one criticism, and I'm not against GLP-1s at all, the one criticism is if the mechanism of action is that you're not hungry, and so therefore you're not eating, therefore you're losing weight. One is you're favoring muscle loss, but
Mm-hmm.
two, you're not actually learning how to eat for your lifetime. And so this is in direct opposition to what we're doing, where we're like, let's wipe the slate clean. Let's come back to the basics. Let's teach your body to feel what it feels like to actually feel stomach hunger, not head hunger, not heart hunger, and how good it feels to eat foods that actually love us back, if you will.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so many of our patients too, at the end of this, they tell us, they're like, I actually feel so satiated, right? Like we have
Yeah.
them eating a lot of protein. They're like, I actually don't even feel like I need to snack anymore. Like I feel really great after eating protein all day, right? Like it really changes your palate too. It changes your cravings. It changes your blood sugar regulation when you're set up this way, when you're actually taught how to nourish your body. Because you're so right. No one ever taught us this. And it's so noisy, right? There's intermittent fasting, there's keto, there's like a million and one ways to eat, right? But what works for you? What actually nourishes your body? What preserves your muscle mass, right? That's such a big part of what we do and what we talk about. A lot of the patients we work with, they're in perimenopause or postmenopausal. Retaining muscle mass and building muscle mass is so critical these ages, right? And again, when we're under eating, when we're not nourishing our body, muscle is the first thing to go. And that long term is really dangerous and damaging.
Yeah, I totally agree. And something I've noticed myself, I imagine you have as well, is that there is food chatter. Food chatter is a thing, and GLP-1 deficiency is a legitimate concern for some patients. But in most cases, I'm going to say upwards of 90 if percent, if not higher, the food chatter actually goes away when we are protein optimized.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like how much of what we're doing is actually getting in the way of us feeling well, which has been my long-term argument of why some of us need a reset. It may not be for everyone. It is not for everyone. But for some of us, getting that moment to recalibrate and like have things quiet down before we rebuild and really start to strength train and build incredible amounts of muscle without losing too much in that reset period, that's life changing for some of us who feel like it's far too noisy internally and externally.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
What's one of your favorite systems that we offer in Shed?
I think the mindset calls. I mean, I could talk all day about all the things I love about
Go
Shed.
on.
I love the mindset calls. So for those that don't know, mindset is it is a part of every single thing we do at the Poppy Clinic because that's how we roll. And so of course it's part of Shed as well. And so for every single day that you are in the program, there is like a 15-ish minute recorded mindset call. And I always, like in the first visit, I tell patients those mindset calls are a huge key to your success because there's so much to untangle when it comes to our relationship with food. And you mentioned heart hunger, mouth hunger, like all of those pieces. Again, no one ever taught us those things. How often do we turn to food for boredom or when we're sad or even to celebrate, right? And none of those things are inherently wrong. But it's just becoming aware of that, becoming aware of our own patterns so that you can choose, right? You can choose, you know what, I'm going to be intentional and that's how I want this relationship to be. Or, wow, I didn't even notice that every time I'm exhausted, I eat a whole bag of chips, right? And I love those calls and I love when patients come back and like just recently a patient, she said, I had no idea about the phases of my cycle. We talk about those in the mindset calls. And she's like, I can't believe I think she's in her 40s and she's like, I can't believe I didn't know this, but it makes so much sense. I understand why I have more cravings in my luteal phase and how to actually make that work. And it's just all of the awarenesses about our relationship with food. It's such a big piece of all of this. And so many other approaches really miss out on the opportunity to get into this. And I really do think it's such a huge key to success.
Yeah, so much so that you and I try and screen for people who are only serious about actually taking advantage of all the systems we provide because it's that impactful and indicative of how well their maintenance is going to go. Like, we're not quick fixes. We don't want to engage in diet culture and contribute to unhealthy body image or like any kind of negative thinking around that or scarcity thinking. We're trying to build really strong and empowered individuals to trust themselves and to really reframe their perspective on things so that they are able to do this on their own in the maintenance phase.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree. And I think this is what I'm so proud of. And, I can't even tell you the level of joy it brings me to be doing this work alongside of you because you and I can jam and get inspired and we're constantly working together. Like, how do we make this better? How do we be of more service? How do we be more available? How do we provide more tools? So we just keep making this program better for that reason. And I think the reason I'm talking about that is that we're like excited because over the coming months, there's going to be a lot more added to what we're doing with special emphasis on that maintenance phase because we're so proud of what we're seeing in our patients and they're so highly motivated to keep that going. And so we want to be able to support them in that capacity, but also this mindset piece and that level of safety, right? Is like, for so many. And in fact, I was sitting in a wild circle not too long ago. We were talking about this concept of safety. And someone shared with me, they were like, I don't know that I've ever felt safe in my body, right? And I can relate to that, right? So if from a very young age you didn't feel like your needs were being met, it is really easy for us to disassociate. And so we can live our whole life outside of our body. And as we start to tune in again and we really create this invite in, actually try and push you to start to feel your feelings again and get in your body, a lot can come up. And I love that you said that about, becoming more body literate, because now you can put some cyclical patterns to the things that you're experiencing. And I think what we've learned from the work that we've done together in a clinical space for our patients is that patients' maintenance is as successful as they are. It's directly correlated to the level of safety they're willing to experience in their body, their willingness to sit with the most challenging emotions and process those feelings and neutralizing that. So wanting to provide even more tools beyond mindset, which is incredibly powerful to help them feel safe, because the more safe we feel in our body, the easier it becomes, because we're not, like what you're saying, like feeling exhausted or overwhelmed at the end of our day and emotionally sabotaging ourselves because we may not feel worthy or we haven't put out the time. And that all comes back to self-trust and self-worth, right? So yeah, couldn't agree more. I think that's one of the favorite tools. I think that's what uniquely positions us. And not, I probably say that about all the things that we do, but like truly the mindset is, I agree, when those kind of conversations end up in our office because it's really impacting our patients, nothing excites me more, really.
Yeah, I totally agree.
This episode is brought to you by our Shed Metabolic Reset program. Look, I know there's a lot of programs out there and it can be very overwhelming, especially when it comes to weight loss and long-term fat loss and finding the right program for you. We have an incredible metabolic reset program, one that does thorough investigative work up front, looking at blood work metrics, helping educate you, a really solid, simple plan to follow in the reset phase, as well as long-term education around how to maintain your weight loss for the long term, how to optimize your health, how to increase metabolic flexibility, and how to build your plate so that you are nourished and the strongest version of yourself. Our program includes a lot of care and support with our integrative healthcare team. It is a medically supported program. We include community support, education support, as well as daily mindset calls. We are all about optimizing your health for the long term. This is the exact program that helped me shed 30 pounds and keep it off for 4 years and counting. So if you feel like a reset is something you would like to consider, a pause to help calibrate, come home to yourself, lower inflammation, boost your energy, learn how to confidently build your plate for longevity, then please head over to poppyclinic.com and you will see that there is a pop-up quiz that will get the process started of seeing if Shed Metabolic Reset program could be for you. If it is, we will connect, and I cannot wait to support you in living the most aligned, harmonious life, one that reclaims peace and confidence in your body and teaches you how to eat for long-term health. I'll see you soon.
Yeah. And I think we have to give an honorable mention to our community as well. It is the best. We have a chat for everyone that is in the program and has been in the program, and the level of support and encouragement and celebration that happens in that group is magical. Magical. This program, we say this all the time, but this program attracts the best humans. We are so lucky to do this work and to see everyone cheer each other on and really be there to support each other is such a beautiful, unintended side effect of this work. It's just been really, really beautiful to watch everyone connect and share, and it's the best.
It's the best. If you know us, you know that we have a huge heart on for community.
Yes.
We rival each other in terms of how much we try to get everybody to do things in communion. And I think for me, Tara, the thing I've enjoyed the most is how connected individuals can be, even though they're not sitting in a circle together.
Mhm.
I had some bias given the work that we've done together, sitting with women and their daughters for years, that there needed to be some kind of created intimacy, whether virtual or in person. But what we're seeing in Shed is that there's so much power to connecting people who are walking a similar path in any capacity, right? Like creating safe boundaries for the community, but then allowing people to support each other and cheer each other on. And I do truly believe that some of our patients get through their biggest obstacles because they're being supported by other individuals who've walked the path, who generously give of their time and share their own personal experience to be able to encourage that person when they're having a really difficult day. Because, even though this is an effective solution, and I are pushing the envelope in the sense of we want you to start feeling again. There are going to be challenging days because we're trying to armor you for life and to protect you in a safe bubble and have no challenges happen isn't serving you. Right. So a lot of our prompts, a lot of the ways we're nudging you, we want you in a safe container to start to feel again, to feel safe enough to experience challenging emotions or relational distress or life stuff. Because the more we can navigate that together and the more that we can connect, because there's major power in
Mhm.
social capital in terms of predictive success in any realm of health or life. But also, if we push you enough to have some challenge during the actual reset and you overcome that and you now learn a new level of self-trust and you start to really radiate worthiness from a place of like, I can do this. If I can do that thing, if I can have that conversation, if I can breathe through this difficult emotion, what can't I do? We're priming you for success and maintenance.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite things. So many favorite things. But one
We're notorious for saying it's all our favorite. Get over
I
it.
know, so true. But when a patient comes in and they say, "So much came up for me emotionally this week," I'm like, "Yes, it's working." That, like, excites me, and they're like, "Why are you happy?" And I'm like, "Because we were never taught how to cope with our feelings. Never, ever." And so, for so many of us, food has just been the way that we cope. No one actually taught us to name our feelings and sit with them and implement solid coping strategies that support us through hard times. We didn't get that education. And so when we learned that food could fill that void or soothe us, that's what we did. And so when we, effectively take that away from people in this program, stuff comes up, right? The way that you deal with a lot is no longer a strategy that you can implement. And so things come up, and that's beautiful. Let it come up. I always say that to patients. We both do, right? Like, let it come up. Let's talk about it. How do we move through this? It's so healing to have that experience, like you're saying, in this safe environment, right? Let it come up. Let's work through it. You're so supported here, but it's so necessary for moving through this and for actually healing that relationship with food.
Yeah, because we don't realize, and hopefully you're getting, at some scale, the gravity of this, but we don't realize how those early experiences of not being able to cope with our feelings and our emotions and challenges prime us for the ability to be able to do that later on in life. And so then we are met with an accumulation on our body of wanting to suppress what's actually coming up. And so we do invite this, and Tara is so true. It makes Tara's heart so happy. Her background is in mental health. So to see patients letting themselves feel again and process these emotions, it's so predictive of their long-term success. Right. So when we see patients really asking the real questions or really sitting in the discomfort, we're like, you've got us. We've got you. We're not afraid. Let's do this. And we know that that's predictive. When we see a lot of resistance patterns and surface level, we're like, okay, we might need to actually nudge this person a little bit more because they're avoiding the real things we want to shed. And that's really where the name came from. Yes, it sounds, I guess, flashy from a fat loss perspective, but it is really for us. Like I said, we want this to be the last place you need to go in order to shed what no longer serves you, so that you can actually step into the highest, most expansive version of yourself. And I think that brings us to probably our last favorite system, which is our capacity for maintenance. And we really walk you through. So everything is structured. There's a 90-page guidebook with our program. There's community, there's recordings, there's access to clinicians. We're quite available to you. And we've built out a maintenance plan that we're really proud of. And we take feedback from our community. And when we learned what they needed, we created master classes available to them. We created AI access so that we could start analyzing their nutrition. And we made sure at the time of completion of the program that they felt so equipped that they knew how to nourish themselves with confidence. They knew what their movement goals are. And I'm really proud. We have to actually look at our numbers so that we can give you real statistics, but I'm going to give you ballpark statistics of what we're seeing in maintenance. But for most part, our patients are losing anywhere between 20 to 60 pounds over a year's time. And what we are seeing already with our patients in terms of maintenance, we've been doing this for about 20 months, is that their capacity for maintenance within a 10-pound variance. So they might gain a couple of pounds back, but their ability to maintain it within that variance is really high, even post 1 year, which is really impressive from a weight loss perspective because most programs don't have those statistics. It's a lot lower than that. And I think one of the things that we do well is not only are we teaching you how to build your plate in the reset, we are gearing you up and transitioning you back to full caloric amounts and movement amounts to be able to maintain that easily. And what a lot of our patients share with us and what we see in our in-body composition, which tells us way more than body weight. And I think this is what our patients love about their monthly follow-ups or check-ins post-reset is they may weigh the same. They might be a couple pounds higher, but in most cases, and I'm going to say upwards of 92 to 95% of the time, they've put on pounds of muscle and shed fat. Would you agree with my statistics? I know
Yeah.
I've kind of just riffed numbers, but
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's so
yeah.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
So I really agree. I can't think of a better way to position what we're doing because this is not about willpower. This is not about, gritting your teeth and like white knuckling. We're done with white knuckling and just doing something for short term so that you get the results you think you desire. Shed is for those who are really done with not feeling well, with feeling like they're out of harmony with their body, that feel disconnected, feel inflamed and unworthy of holding everything that they deserve and aligning and harmonizing with how they've always been designed to thrive. Just no one ever taught us. And I'll tell you, I saw a patient this morning, shared with consent, has lost 50 pounds and has lost 13 of those pounds in maintenance at a 1,700 calorie diet, eating 143 grams of protein per day. Her visceral fat has gone down from 17 to 7. And she said, Michelle, and she's someone like me. She knew all the things. She's equipped. She knows a lot about nutrition, strength trains. Like she is a strong woman. And she was so frustrated. And she goes, I remember, I'm going to say like 20 years ago when she was having trouble with finances. She was like, I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't pay off my student debt. So I learned everything I needed to know about financial literacy. And once I understood and I reallocated all of my money to go where it needed to go, I paid off my debt. She was like, I see this as the exact same thing. I know all the things, but I can't take a big enough step to see how to make them all work. And this reset was the thing that allowed for me to take inventory, become body literate, nutrition literate, movement literate, to now be someone who can totally handle this on her own. She's like, I'm strength training. She'd put on so many pounds of muscle. It's just so encouraging because that's the woman we want to serve, right? Like that is the individual we want to serve. It's like, I want to do the right things, but life feels hard. Life is lifing. I'm exhausted. I'm dysregulated. I don't know how to process my emotions and I don't know where to go next. And I think for many of us, a reset is that beautiful pause in life where we can just let everything fall away and we can start to align and get in coherence with how we actually want to feel and show up to our life. And we slowly get to rebuild that in a safe space, medically guided, to have some kind of insurance plan that we're building the systems that get us to where we want to go.
Well, that's such a beautiful story.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
And I said, "You knew all the right things." And she
Mhm.
was "But I needed something to start that off." And that's literally how I felt. And it was nerve-wracking for me personally to come back after retiring a practice because my burnout was so bad, to start talking about shedding fat when that was potentially controversial subject matter. But when you have something that can really help women, and you and I are so passionate, like, what do we need to do to help people live their best life, right? Like, you're going so far back as to helping teens navigate puberty with confidence because you want them to be able to rewrite a different script than what we had. Like, we are heart-centered clinicians that want to make a difference in this world, and when we have a solution and we know it can help, we wanna be of service. And that was really what the conversation was, is that I was so personally impacted. It changed my life. It changed how I viewed myself, my body, my nourishment, my planning, my boundaries, that it
Mhm.
was like, but we could help. So maybe we should do the right thing and bring this to other women and be of service. And it took us a long time to make that happen. And I tell the story all the time, I'll tell it again. Tara was also very cautious. Being in the work that she is in and the mental health, she didn't necessarily want to be associated with weight loss until she saw everything that was included in terms of how we were impacting and empowering women. And I think you saw one patient. Is that
Yeah.
accurate? One shift for sure. And you were like, I am in.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause I realized there's so much integrity here, and I should have known that because it's you, but, I
We're
think
all still impacted by media.
yeah, and I think when we say weight loss or fat loss, it's a lot comes up for everybody, right? There's a lot of perceptions and stigma around that, right? And no, I'm so impressed by the work that you are doing, and it's been such an honor to do this alongside you for over a year now. It's been so much fun, and for the patients that it is for, it changes their life. Like we see it we're so lucky to see that every day. The way that this truly changes everything for the patient that is ready for it and ready to overhaul what they know and focus on a system that really works and gets them to where they want to be without the shame, without the yo-yoing that exists out there, and finally work with their body, not against it, and find success long term. It's been such an honor to do this and to support our patients in this capacity. I love this. I love doing it with you. It's been such a joy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's no one I'd rather do this with. I feel so incredibly grateful. We are so in alignment with how we want to be of service, of how we work. Our patients are deeply supported by both of us. I love collaborative care. It's a system built to succeed, and it's a system built around the betterment of our patients. And, I thank you for bringing this conversation to the forefront, because we don't have to wait for willpower to suddenly come for us to be able to transform our health. We start to understand that we need to align ourselves with successful systems that were built to help any busy human in North America with, well, Ontario, regulation wise, but with a value system that really puts us outside of our body and overstretching ourselves. We really need to align ourselves with systems that work so that we can default to systems that we have built, and we have weaved them into our everyday life so that we get the maintenance and the health that we desire because we learned how to make that work, irrespective of everything else going around. And so, if this really feels like the work that you want to be doing, if this feels like the system that could be the solution that you're looking for, if you're in Ontario, you can reach out to us. We'll send you a recording to learn more about our program. If you are local to us and you want to check us out and come hang out in our space and have an in-body composition assessment and learn a little bit more about your metabolic health and get comfortable with us and hear personal stories of individuals whose lives have been impacted by our systems, come hang out with us September 17th, it's next Wednesday, 7 p.m. We would love to have you there.
Absolutely. Can't wait. It's going to be lots of fun.
As always, Tara, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work you do. You guys, if you're ever lucky to be enough to be in her presence, she will cry and hug and be with you. There's no warmer soul. And I'm so, so grateful to do this work with you. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Okay, everybody, have a great day. Stay wild. Thank you so much for tuning in to Wild Medicine. I am so grateful to have you here, and I hope you're feeling inspired and empowered. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating. It helps us reach more incredible women just like you. And before you go, quick reminder, the information shared on this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat any medical condition. Please consult with your healthcare provider for personalized advice and care. And if you're ready to take inspired action and dive deeper into your own health journey, please visit us at poppyclinic.com. Let's rewild and reset your health together.